What's up, you guys? It's Cody coming back at you with another video. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be painting the new rear bumper for the truck, okay? As a lot of you guys know, if you follow my channel, we don't have the truck right now. It's at the shop getting lifted. Super excited for that. I can't wait. I wish I could get the truck back already. Can't wait for it to come back. Super excited to reveal it to you guys. I don't even know what to expect. I can't even picture the truck right now, but I know it's gonna look great. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for the truck to get lifted, we have some work we can do without the truck being here. So that's what we're gonna do today, is paint this thing. Now, I do have a table full of goodies and tools and stuff that we're gonna need for this. I went to Harbor Freight and bought this cheap little sander. We're not gonna need much. This should be able to get the job done. We got two different grits of sandpaper. We got a 60 grit, which is you know, pretty gnarly. This should take off a lot with the first pass of this, and then we can go back with a more fine 150 grit in order to get a little more smooth and prep to start painting. I have the heat gun just because I'll probably use it to warm up the metal. It's kind of a warm day, but I'll use this for probably the first pass of the primer, just to make sure it really bonds and sticks real good. We have this self-etching primer, so this is automotive series, so you should basically be able to put this on, and then there's no additional sanding required after that. You put this on and then you start with your painting process. We have a gloss white that we're going to use, just a simple Rust-Oleum. It's nothing crazy. It's the same that we use for the front bumper, so the rear bumper should match the front pretty good. The front isn't, you know, it pretty much matches the paint. It's not a perfect white match, but it's white, it's good enough. So this is our gloss white that we have, and then we got a little bit of clear coat left in this can. We're gonna finish that off, and if we need more, we have a brand new unused can. We got, you know, a dust mask for the sanding, a rag, gloves, brake cleaner. We'll use the brake cleaner after we sand it to get all the powder off and make sure it's nice and clean and ready for our paint job. We're gonna use these needle nose pliers to take the plastic top off. We have this plastic top right here. We're gonna take it completely off. We don't have to tape anything off. We could take that plastic off and just go ahead and get to sanding and painting, and then throw it back on and not have to worry about getting any overspray on that. So we'll use some needle nose pliers to get the tabs off. We'll get to that when it's time, and you guys will see. And that's pretty much it. So let's get to it, guys. Real quick, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Join the community and leave a comment down below what you thought about the video. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, let's go ahead and flip this thing over so we can get to the tabs on the bottom of the plastic. As you can see, we have these plastic tabs right here. Should be able to just pinch them and push them out. I don't know if I could do it by hand. That's why I brought the needle nose pliers. They do feel pretty tight, so I'll probably try it with the needle nose pliers first. Let's see if we can get that off pretty easily. It's not safe out here. Well, it's not super easy to get off, but it is coming off. Needle nose pliers on the inside, pinching it, and a flathead screwdriver between here, prying it out works pretty good. And it's off. Now I'm also going to take these bolts out, just so that way I can, this is all part of the outer bumper, so I take these out and I can sand and paint there and then put them back in, just so that way we have all of those out, and the whole outer part that's going to be exposed completely painted, sanded and painted. All this that goes under the plastic I probably won't even mess with. This paint job is a professional paint job, probably better than the one I'm going to do anyways, so I'll just leave all that, and I'm only going to sand and paint the parts that show. they are tight as hell, but they come out. So that's pretty much it, you guys. This thing is ready to be sanded and prepped. Again, we took the plastic off the top. We took these bolts out of the bottom, 4 bolts, just so that way we can get everything that's going to be exposed when it's mounted to the truck sanded and painted correctly. By the way, we have our extension cord set up with our sander, but by the way, just in case you were curious, I forgot to mention, this sander from Harbor Freight was only 15 bucks if you're wondering how much it is. If you're into the idea of doing this project or something like it and you want to know how much a sander is, this was $15 for the sander, and I think these were like $1.99 each for the 6-pack of the pieces of sandpaper. The heat gun I bought when I did my door molding or door trims, and that was like $9.99. okay, so sander $15, heat gun about $10, just in case you were curious about that. So I'm gonna take off my no half-ass hat. Don't want to mess that up. We're gonna put that inside, and then we'll throw a dust mask on just in case. It might be a lot of stuff you don't want to breathe. Alright, so we've got quite a bit of it sanded down, and now as you can see, we do have some bare metal showing in a couple spots already. I don't really plan on getting it like that all the way. I'm just going to try and take off a lot of the top layer of the existing paint. I'm not going to try and get it all down to bare metal, but this is just the first bit of sanding. What I want to do now is come back with the brake cleaner and a rag and try and take off as much of the dust as possible, and then go back and sand it some more. So just a little update, that's where we're at right now. Guys, so here's where we're at with this thing. Basically, if you plan on doing this project, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, even for $15, this little sanding thing is not worth it. It did help us get our first little layer of sanding done, but it seems like, let me see if I can show you, holding the camera with one hand and sander with another, it's kind of hard, but these are your sandpaper holders, and you put one side of the sandpaper here and lock this up, and then same thing on the other side. They seem to have lost their spring because they held the sandpaper pretty good for the first layer, but now every time I put sandpaper in there and then start sanding, the sandpaper just comes right out. So this thing doesn't work very good at all. Basically, like I said, I did the first pass on this thing with the 60 grit using the sander. It would not hold sandpaper anymore, so I went back and I did the 150 grit by hand, which is not fun on your hands when you do sandpaper. What I should have bought, and what I recommend you guys buy, is the little sanding block that they have at Harbor Freight. I think it was like $2.99, and that holds sandpaper, and you can hold the block and sand with. I should have grabbed that, but I recommend that thing. You can buy this too if you're okay with spending the money, 15 bucks. It did get the first layer of sanding done in like 10-15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, pretty easily. But that was pretty much all we got out of it, and now it just doesn't even hold sandpaper anymore. But like I said, I went back by hand with the 150 grit, so I'm gonna clean this thing off one more time with the brake cleaner and a clean rag and get all of the dust off and everything off nice and clean, and ready to put the first layer of primer on So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, guys, we're pretty much ready to throw on the first layer of primer. Now, when you wipe this thing down after you sand it, actually, to be honest with you, if you have an air compressor, if you have access to compressed air, blowing this thing off first would be your best bet. I don't, so I just wiped it down. You want to use a nice clean or a nice lintless rag, okay? You don't want to use a rag that leaves lint behind when you wipe it, especially with the brake cleaner. You want to use a lintless rag. Lintless. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyways, you want to use a lintless rag so it leaves it nice and clean, and you don't get anything under the paint. So let's go ahead and throw the first coat of primer on there. Like I said, I don't necessarily know if this is a bad idea, but it's just something I like to do when I paint. I'm going to use the heat gun to just kind of get the metal kind of warm. I'm not going to get super hot. As a welder, a lot of times when I finish welding, I give it a little bit of time to cool down a little bit, but I like to paint it when it's still warm. The paint sticks really good and dries almost instantly when the metal's warm. That's just something I learned when painting over welds. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this up a little bit before I put that first coat of primer on there. That's just something I like to do. I don't know if it's a good idea or bad idea, like I said. I'm not a professional painter though, so we're gonna try it out and see how it goes. So we got 2 layers of that primer on there. We're gonna give that a little bit of time to dry, and then we're gonna go ahead and throw the gloss white on. All right, now that that's all dry, let's go ahead and throw on our gloss white. Let's get to it. As you can see, we just kind of used a little bit of a dusting technique on the first pass. We didn't really cover the whole thing. We just got some, like I said, a dusting technique that I've been told about before by someone that knows how to paint. Just the first layer, we just get like kind of a little bit of coverage over it. Not a complete coverage, just, you know, there's still some black in there showing. We're gonna let that dry, and then when you throw the next coat on it, it'll bond to it much better. So we'll see how good that works. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be fine, but just so you guys know where we're at. All right, guys, so we have about 4 coats of the gloss white on the bumper. Everywhere that is going to be exposed once we throw the plastic back on is completely covered with gloss white. So we are going to let this dry a little bit now and throw maybe 3 coats of clear coat, and hopefully that brings out a little bit more shine and makes it look real nice, and that'll be it. All right, let's go ahead and start throwing some clear coat on. All right, we are done painting this bumper, and let me tell you guys, this was quite a bit of a process. It was definitely not a super easy task. We ran into some problems, had to redo some spots and stuff like that. I'll go over that a little bit in a minute. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and do the reveal for you guys. You guys can see it, it's done. The plastic is put back on, the bolts are in, everything. So it looks great. So let's check it out, and then like I said, I'll go over with you guys what I learned and how we got the job done and stuff like that. So let's check it out. So there it is, guys. Like I said, as you can see, the bumper is completely done being painted. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are really going to be able to tell the quality on the camera, but I mean, this thing looks great. I wish you guys can see in person. You know, like I've said in other videos, I'd like to organize a truck meet. Anybody that wants to attend and meet up and stuff. So maybe some of you will get to see it one day, but it looks great. It looks like it came like this. I'm super happy with it. We did apply about 4 or 5 coats of clear coat over the white, so the paint should last. It definitely looks good. It looks factory. I'm really happy with it. So that was a process. Like I said, let's go ahead and go into some of those problems that I had, what I learned. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm no professional painter, so I did learn a lot about this, how to make it come out better. Let's go over some of that stuff real quick. So first of all, you guys saw that I bought this little electric sander from Harbor Freight, super cheap. And we ran into problems with it. It worked for about 10 minutes, and then these little metal band, these little clips that it has that holds the sandpaper in there, just does not hold the sandpaper at all. Like I said, after about 10 minutes it stopped working. The sandpaper would just slip right out as soon as I tried to use it. So this thing, definitely not recommended. If you want to get an electric sander to make this job easier, buy a better one. Buy one that holds the sandpaper down a little easier, because this one did not work well at all. The other thing that we ran into is in the beginning of the video, you guys saw white paint that I used, and we did a couple layers of that, and then I ran out, and then I bought this one to continue putting white on, and this is when we started having problems. The paint was kind of spider cracking and coming up. This stuff didn't seem like it was sticking very well. I didn't know it was the paint, so I didn't know that it might not have been the problem, but I think it was the problem. Basically, this side was having spider crack problems in certain spot, and it was kind of bubbling up, and the paint wasn't sticking. And I tried to fix it a couple times just in the spots that needed it, and it wasn't working. I ended up going back and sanding the entire bumper down completely and starting over. And in the beginning, we had a different type of white that worked good, and then, like I said, I switched to that Rust-Oleum white that I just showed you. That's when we started having problems. So when I sanded this down completely, I went and bought this white instead. I wanted to try a different white. I bought this gloss white and also some acetone. So I sanded it down completely, wiped the metal down with acetone, and then used this gloss white, and we did not have any more problems. So I'm assuming this paint was the problem. Maybe it's not always bad. Maybe I got a bad couple cans, because I did get 2 cans of it and it just wasn't working. So that paint right there, garbage, doesn't work at all. Don't recommend it. This stuff worked really well, and it was actually like $1 cheaper than other stuff. So definitely recommend that paint over the other one. Another thing that really helped me was, since the electric sander didn't work, I bought this little sanding pad that has a Velcro on the bottom, and it came with 3 different grits of sandpaper. So we have, you know, rougher grit, and then 80. We have 80 grit, I think 180, and then I think a 300 grit, which was much more fine. So this was nice. This helped a lot. Sanding by hand is not fun, like just holding the sandpaper. So using this definitely made it a lot easier, and it was only like 10 bucks for this, plus it came with 3 different pads of each grit of sandpaper. So like I said, we ran into some problems. This side came out fine, even with that one paint that I showed you guys that we had problems with. This side came out fine. For some reason, this was the side we had trouble with. But again, once I sanded it down completely and used the other paint, we didn't have a problem anymore. And now, like I said, like I really wish you guys can see it in person one day. The paint looks great. It doesn't look patchy, or it doesn't look like a rattle can paint job. So I'm super happy with it. Like I said, as most of you guys know, the truck is in the shop right now. We're waiting to get the truck back, and as soon as we do, I can't wait to reveal it to you guys. And then after that, we will throw this bumper on. I kind of wish I could have thrown the bumper on before even getting the lift done, because that old bumper on the truck, it's just not going to look as good when I get the truck back. But it is what it is. We'll throw the bumper on after, and we'll see how it looks, but I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty sure it's gonna look pretty good. And honestly, I'll probably take that front bumper off now that I know more about painting and sanding and making it smooth. I'll probably take that front bumper off and fix the paint on that a little bit too. Also, guys, don't forget to check out nohalfassapparel.com. We do have new hats, okay? As this video is up, as you're watching it, we have these new trucker hats, okay? This is a foam front heat press trucker hat. If you guys like the message and you want to buy a hat, the other ones that I wear with the embroidered front are a little more expensive at 26 bucks a hat. If you want to buy one for not too expensive, these trucker hats are only $16, you guys. $16 plus tax and a few dollars for shipping anywhere in the United States, okay? So if you guys like the message, no half-ass, you like that message, and you want to buy a hat and support your boy, go check it out on the website. 16 bucks. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.